When Spanish explorers arrived in the 1500s, they found a land so vast and varied it defied maps and reason. Today, Texas still holds secrets even lifelong Texans haven't seen. In the deserts near Terlingua, natural gas flames burn blue under moonlight, never extinguished. Deep beneath San Antonio, limestone chambers echo with voices from prehistoric times. And in the quiet waters of Caddo Lake, trees breathe through their roots in an ancient, flooded forest. These aren't myths. These are places you can visit if you know where to look. Texas is more than a state. It's a continent in disguise. With landscapes that stretch from sun-scorched deserts to subtropical swamps, it contains some of the most geologically diverse and culturally rich places in North America. This land was once a shallow sea, a battleground, a borderland, and today, it's a vault of natural phenomena and human legacy. In this episode of Era Trails, we're uncovering Texas's most enduring wonders, natural formations, historical ruins, and bizarre locations that reveal the untold story of the Lone Star State. Beneath the flat plains of the Texas Panhandle lies a fracture in the earth, a gash carved by wind, water, and time. This is Palo Duro Canyon, the second largest canyon in the United States, and one of Texas's most awe-striking secrets. Spanning over 120 miles long and plunging nearly 800 feet deep, this canyon was shaped by the relentless waters of the Prairie Dog Town Fork of the Red River. But its story begins far earlier, millions of years ago, during the Permian period, when this land was covered by an ancient sea. As the sea retreated and tectonic forces lifted the land, sediment layers built up and hardened into rock. Wind and rain took care of the rest. To early indigenous peoples, like the Apache and Comanche, Palo Duro was more than a natural wonder. It was a sanctuary. Its steep walls offered protection, its creeks provided water, and its echoes carried stories through generations. One of the most iconic features here is Lighthouse Rock, a 310-foot sandstone pinnacle that looks sculpted by divine hands. Hike the 6-mile round-trip trail to witness it up close, where sunrises paint it gold and shadows stretch like ghosts across the canyon floor. But Palo Duro is not silent. Visitors often speak of sudden winds sweeping in like whispers, and some say they've heard chanting near the old Comanche campsites, long after sunset. Rising abruptly from the scrubland near Fredericksburg is a dome of pink granite so massive, so strangely silent, it has inspired centuries of legend. This is Enchanted Rock, one of the oldest exposed rock formations in North America, and a place where science and superstition blur. Geologists say the rock is part of a larger batholith, a massive underground formation that formed over 1 billion years ago during a time of violent tectonic shifts. What we see today is just the tip of the granite iceberg, slowly uncovered by erosion over eons. But to indigenous peoples, the dome was alive. The Tonkawa believed it was haunted, claiming to hear ghostly creaks and groans at night, likely caused by the rock expanding and contracting with temperature changes. Yet, science couldn't explain the strange orbs of light said to appear on the summit under moonlight. Legends also speak of warriors who vanished into cracks in the stone, never to return. Others say the summit holds sacred energy, and hikers today still leave offerings at its peak. The summit trail is short but steep, just under a mile, but it leads to 360-degree views of the Texas Hill Country that feel both ancient and infinite. And if you listen closely at dusk, the rock still speaks. Hidden in the rolling limestone hills west of Austin lies a collapsed grotto where time stands still. Hamilton Pool Preserve isn't just a swimming hole. It's a window into prehistoric Texas. Thousands of years ago, an underground river carved a tunnel through soft limestone. Eventually, the roof of that tunnel collapsed, creating a massive, open-air cave with a 50-foot waterfall cascading from the ceiling above. What remains is a perfect crescent-shaped basin, surrounded by ferns, mosses, and hanging gardens that seem pulled from a forgotten world. Archaeological findings show that humans have been visiting this oasis for over 8,000 years. The Tonkawa and Lipan Apache tribes likely used the pool as a seasonal camp, and oral histories speak of sacred ceremonies held beneath the falls. Today, visitors hike down a short but rocky trail to reach the pool, passing through dense juniper forest before emerging into the amphitheater-like opening. The water glows emerald green, especially after a fresh rain, and the echo under the dome is so crisp, even a whisper carries. Due to fragile ecosystems and safety concerns, swimming is sometimes restricted, but the beauty of this place is eternal. Whether you're in the water or simply standing at its edge, listening to the sound of ancient water falling through stone. In far west Texas, where the Rio Grande cuts a winding path between cliff walls and the stars seem to hang lower than anywhere else in the U.S., lies a land both vast and intimate, Big Bend National Park. Covering over 800,000 acres, Big Bend is one of the most remote national parks in America. Here, desert, mountain, and river ecosystems converge in a collision of geology and life. The park contains fossils from ancient seas, volcanic remnants from fiery eruptions, and some of the darkest night skies on the continent. The Chizos Mountains rise suddenly from the desert floor, an island of green surrounded by a sea of stone. These mountains are the only mountain range in the U.S. to be fully contained within a national park. Trails like the Lost Mine or South Rim offer panoramas that seem to bend the horizon. But perhaps the most dramatic feature is the Santa Elena Canyon, a 1,500-foot gorge carved by the Rio Grande, where vertical limestone walls echo every splash and whisper. Kayakers float between Texas and Mexico, wrapped in silence broken only by the river's flow. To the Apache and later the Spanish, Big Bend was a boundary between safety and danger, life and death. Today, it's still a threshold, a place where time slows and the land itself seems to remember. At the westernmost edge of Texas, where the Franklin Mountains rise like stone sentinels above the desert floor, lies a city older than Texas itself, El Paso. This is a place where the past isn't buried, it walks among the living. El Paso's history stretches back thousands of years. Archaeological sites in the Hueco Tank State Historic Site contain rock art, pictographs, painted by the Jornada Mogollon people as far back as 1,000 years ago. These pictographs, some of which align with celestial events, still rest in sacred hollows that collect rainwater like mirrors to the sky. Spanish explorers arrived here in the late 1500s, calling it El Paso del Norte, the passage to the north. It became a crossroads for trade, for war, for culture, and today, it remains a bridge between the U.S. and Mexico, with Ciudad Juarez just across the river. The Franklin Mountains themselves, which run directly through the city, are over 1.25 billion years old, older than the Rockies, older than most of North America's surface. They hold fossils of sea creatures and layers of volcanic ash that whisper the story of Earth's ancient moods. Modern El Paso is known for its food, its festivals, and its resilience. But look a little deeper, and you'll find a city where ancient rock art meets modern murals, and where every canyon and crevice has a story waiting to be uncovered. Towering above the West Texas desert, the Guadalupe Mountains pierce the sky like the fossilized spine of an ancient world. This isn't just the highest point in Texas. It's one of the most geologically profound places in North America. At the heart of the park stands Guadalupe Peak, rising 8,751 feet above sea level. From its summit, you can see an ocean of stone and scrub stretching endlessly in all directions. But what's beneath your feet is even more astonishing. A fossil reef, once submerged beneath the Permian Sea 260 million years ago. Back then, this entire region was underwater, part of a thriving marine ecosystem. Coral and sponges built a vast limestone reef, the Capitan Reef, which now forms the bones of the Guadalupe Mountains. The cliffs and canyons here are literally made of ancient sea life. Hike through McKittrick Canyon, and you'll find a surprising burst of color, thanks to a microclimate that supports maple, oak, and ash trees. In fall, it becomes one of the most vivid landscapes in Texas. Along the trail, the stone ruins of the Pratt Cabin and the Hunter Line Shack stand as relics of pioneer days. Beneath the quiet hills just north of San Antonio lies a world that was hidden for millions of years, a cathedral of stone, sculpted by water drop by drop. This is Natural Bridge Caverns, the largest known commercial cave system in Texas, and one of its most mesmerizing natural wonders. Discovered in 1960 by 4 college students who squeezed through a narrow crevice with little more than lanterns and courage, the caverns stretch for over 2 miles underground, though much of the system remains unexplored to this day. The name comes from the 60-foot natural limestone bridge that arches over the cave's entrance, formed when a cavern ceiling collapsed long ago. But it's what lies below that truly stuns. Vast chambers filled with soda straws, stalactites, and flowstones that shimmer under light like frozen waterfalls. In places like the Hall of the Mountain King, you'll find towering formations that took tens of thousands of years to form. The air here is cool, the silence deep, and every echo feels ancient. In the far northeast corner of Texas, where the state brushes against the border of Louisiana, there exists a lake like no other in the state or the country. This is Caddo Lake, a maze of bayous, sloughs, and backwater channels cloaked in cypress trees and dripping in Spanish moss. A place that looks more like a painting than reality. According to legend, the lake was created by the 1811 New Madrid earthquakes, when the earth shook so violently that the Mississippi River briefly flowed backward. While geologists debate the details, what's clear is that Caddo Lake holds one of the largest flooded cypress forests in the world. Named after the Caddo people, who once lived along its shores, the lake was a vital hub of trade, culture, and spirituality. The Caddo believed the lake was a sacred place, guarded by spirits in the water and trees. Even today, paddlers say the stillness can feel otherworldly, especially when morning fog rolls in over the black water. The lake is also home to incredible biodiversity. Over 70 species of fish, alligators, herons, owls, and even the occasional black bear in the surrounding woods. And lurking beneath its surface are sunken steamboats from the 1800s, swallowed by time and tannin-dark waters. Caddo Lake isn't just a destination, it's a mood. A hauntingly beautiful reminder that not all Texas wonders blaze under the sun. Some rest in shadows, where the past whispers through the trees. In the flat plains just west of Amarillo, 10 Cadillacs stand nose down in the dirt, half-buried, boldly defiant, and eternally covered in layers of neon spray paint. This is Cadillac Ranch, where art, rebellion, and Route 66 nostalgia collide in the middle of the Texas Panhandle. Created in 1974 by a San Francisco art collective called Ant Farm, and backed by eccentric billionaire Stanley Marsh III, the installation was meant to challenge the very idea of consumerism and car culture. The 10 Cadillacs, ranging from 1949 to 1963, are all tilted at the same angle as the Great Pyramid of Giza, a bizarre nod to timelessness. But Cadillac Ranch isn't a museum piece behind glass. It's living, ever-changing, and fully interactive. Visitors are encouraged, even expected, to bring spray paint and leave their mark. Over time, the cars have grown crusts of graffiti inches thick. What you see today may be gone tomorrow, replaced by a new message, a new color, a new act of rebellion. And yet, through all the layers, the spirit of the installation remains. Freedom, weirdness, and the unexpected. It's Texas saying, we don't just do big, we do strange too. Along the banks of the San Antonio River, stone walls rise from the landscape like echoes of a distant empire. These are the San Antonio Missions, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a testament to the collision of cultures that shaped modern Texas. While most people know the Alamo, it's just one of 5 surviving missions established by Spanish colonists in the early 1700s. Together, Mission Concepcion, Mission San Jose, Mission San Juan, Mission Espada, and the Alamo formed a network of religious, agricultural, and cultural outposts designed to convert and civilize local Native American populations. But these weren't just churches, they were fortified communities. Within their walls, Native peoples learned European farming techniques, architecture, language, and religion. Over time, these missions gave birth to a unique culture, a fusion of Spanish Catholic and indigenous traditions that still pulses through South Texas today. Rising dramatically above the city of El Paso, the Franklin Mountains are more than just a scenic backdrop. They're a geological titan, a desert sanctuary, and a wild heart beating within the urban sprawl. This is Franklin Mountain State Park, one of the largest urban wilderness parks in the United States, sprawling across over 27,000 rugged acres. These mountains are ancient. Formed over 1 billion years ago, they contain some of the oldest rock in Texas. Their jagged peaks and deep canyons tell a story of upheaval, erosion, and relentless time. And yet, they've stood witness to thousands of years of human history, from indigenous peoples to Spanish explorers to modern hikers. In the hills of North Texas, where cliffs rise suddenly from calm waters, lies Possum Kingdom Lake, a shimmering reservoir known for both beauty and adrenaline. Formed in the 1940s by the Morris Shepherd Dam, it now spans over 20,000 acres, with water so clear it draws scuba divers, anglers, and thrill seekers alike. Its most iconic feature, the Hell's Gate Cliffs, twin limestone towers where boaters gather and cliff jumpers leap. But beyond the thrill, The lake hides quiet coves, forested trails, and submerged trees from a world before the valley was flooded. Named after a local fur trader's nickname for the area, Possum Kingdom blends folklore with natural drama, proof that even man-made landscapes can feel timeless and wild. In the heart of Austin stands the Texas State Capitol, a towering symbol of Lone Star pride. Completed in 1888, it's taller than the U.S. Capitol in D.C., because of course it is. Made from local sunset red granite, the building blends Italian Renaissance Revival architecture with Texas-sized scale. Inside, echoing rotundas and historic chambers tell the story of the state's political evolution. It's not just a government building, it's a working monument and one of the best preserved state capitals in the nation. Free tours, stunning grounds, and a whispering gallery under the dome make it a must-visit for history and architecture lovers alike. At Texas's southernmost edge, where the Gulf of Mexico meets wide-open sky, lies South Padre Island, a barrier island known for its white sand beaches, warm waters, and unexpected ecological richness. Beyond its reputation as a spring break hotspot, South Padre is a haven for wildlife. It's one of the best places in the U.S. to spot dolphins, sea turtles, and migratory birds. The Sea Turtle Incorporated Rescue Center and nearby Laguna Madre Nature Trail offer insight into the island's thriving ecosystem. Whether it's windsurfing, kayaking through the bay, or watching bioluminescent plankton glow at night, South Padre proves that Texas has its own slice of tropical magic, wild, warm, and endlessly alive. Nestled in the rolling hills near Glen Rose, Fossil Rim Wildlife Center is a drive-through safari where conservation meets the Texas countryside. Spanning over 1,800 acres, it's home to more than 1,000 animals from 50-plus species, including giraffes, cheetahs, rhinos, and endangered antelope. But this isn't just a zoo, it's a working wildlife conservation center. Fossil Rim plays a key role in breeding programs and global species survival plans, giving guests a chance to witness animals thriving in natural habitats. With scenic drives, feeding zones, and behind-the-scenes tours, it offers a wild experience rooted in education, preservation, and a deeper connection to the natural world. From sun-scorched canyons to underwater caverns, from desert peaks to painted cars rising from prairie soil, Texas doesn't just show you its wonders, it dares you to define them. It's a place where ancient history meets modern myth, where ecosystems thrive in extremes, and where every landscape whispers a different story. Whether it's the sacred silence of Caddo Lake, the wild winds of the Franklin Mountains, or the echoes inside the natural bridge caverns, Texas is more than big. It's layered, alive, and endlessly unexpected. And perhaps that's the real wonder, not just the places themselves, but how they reflect the people, the spirit, and the untamed imagination that built this state. Because in Texas, the horizon is never just a line. It's a promise. This has been Era Trails, and we've only just scratched the surface.